last we have a national expert on fair pay with us, but first I just want to introduce some of the great women elected leaders who walked in the back, and I want to make sure that you all recognize them. So they've switched around a little bit, so hopefully I get everyone. Now next to Senator Jeanine Calkin is Representative Edie Agello. Representative Lauren Carson in the very back. Representative Teresa Tansey here. This is Representative Camille Vella-Wilkinson here. And she's not here anymore, but I saw Representative Carol Hagan-McEntee come in and out. We also have our Secretary of State, Nellie Gorbea, in the back. This is the library is her room, so thanks for letting us talk about these critical issues here. Next, we have, all the way from Washington, D.C., Andrea Johnson, who is the Senior Counsel for State Policy at the National Caucus, I'm getting this wrong, National Women's Law Center, get the acronym in the right order. And she has been helping on these bills and is one of the experts really across the country on fair pay and equal pay laws.
To be here in Rhode Island with you today. So, as Georgia said, I'm from the National Women's Law Center. We have been working for over 40 years to secure and defend women and girls' legal rights and opportunities. And a lot of our work is focused on removing barriers to the equal treatment of women in the workplace, particularly those that suppress women's wages. And we're located in D.C., but I have flown all the way up here to Rhode Island today because I can tell you progress towards closing the wage gap is not happening in our nation's capital. It's happening here. The states like Rhode Island are leading the national movement to close the wage gap. And with this equal pay bill and the Fight for 15 bill, Rhode Island is finally joining this movement. We are super excited to be here. So, it's no surprise for me to tell you that Congress isn't doing anything. And the Trump administration has rolled back progress on closing the wage gap, notably by blocking the EEO-1 equal pay data collection that was supposed to go into effect this last month and would have shined light on pay disparities so that employers and the EEOC can better work to correct them. That was a devastating loss. But states across the country are stepping up to fill this void and strengthen their equal pay laws and raise the minimum wage because you know that women and their families no longer, literally cannot afford to wait any longer to close the wage gap. So, you all know here in Rhode Island that our equal pay laws are riddled with loopholes that have allowed employers to flout the law and continue paying women less without any compelling business reason justifying lower pay. So with this bill, the Equal Pay Bill, you are saying no more. And you're joining a growing chorus of states, including New York, New Jersey, Maryland, Washington, and California, that are closing these loopholes. You also know that too many employers are asking that deeply dreaded and deeply unfair salary history question and forcing women and people of color to carry pay discrimination and disparities with them from job to job. But with this bill, you are saying no more, and you're joining Massachusetts, Delaware, Oregon, California, New York, and New Jersey who have taken steps to limit the harmful reliance on salary history. You also know that when employers impose secrecy around pay and do not let their employees discuss their pay, that means pay discrimination is allowed to remain hidden in the shadows where it grows, sometimes for decades in the case of Lilly Ledbetter, hurting women's economic security, hurting their families that depend on their incomes, and hurting their retirement security. But with this bill, you are saying no more, and you're joining the 18 states that have enacted laws protecting employees from retaliation for discussing their pay in just the last few years. You also know that it's women who are most likely to be struggling to make ends meet at $10.10 an hour in Rhode Island, and it's women who are most likely to be working for tips, getting less than $4 an hour from their employers, and often putting up with terrible sexual harassment just to take home the money they need to feed their families. With this Fight for 15 bill, you are saying no more, and you are joining the growing chorus of states that are raising their minimum wage to $15, and the 7 states that ensure that people working for tips get the same minimum wage as everyone else. With this, This bill is also an equal pay bill because by boosting the wages predominantly of women earning these minimum wages, this bill will also help close the wage gap. These bills truly have a chance to make a significant impact on the wage gap in Rhode Island. I see a lot of bills in a lot of different states. These bills are serious and they are amassing all the tools we need to close the wage gap. But at the same time, they aren't revolutionary. This year alone, 38 states are considering legislation with similar equal pay provisions. And in states where equal pay bills have passed in the last several years, many have passed with bipartisan and business support. Because pay transparency and equal pay also helps businesses' bottom line by increasing employee productivity, loyalty, and performance, and reducing liability. So, as you might know, Tuesday was Equal Pay Day, a horrible day that we celebrate. It's the day to which women across race, ethnicity, and industry have to work in 2018 to make what men made in 2017 alone. But with these bills, the Equal Pay Bill and the Fight for 15 bill, you are taking a solid step towards making sure we never have to celebrate Equal Pay Day again. And for that, I thank you.